Dumped by her boyfriend, popular high schooler Momo Ayase longs for someone who embodies the stoic type, like Ken Takakura. Moping around the halls, she finds a student being picked on. She intervenes to stop the bullying and carries on her walk, but the nerd chases after her. Finally making his first friend, he proclaims that aliens are real, with all the evidence he has found. But Miss Ayase doesn't believe him, and very much so, doesn't have the mental capacity to talk about nonsense after just being broken up with. Apologizing for her rude behavior, she admits that she doesn't believe in aliens, but in ghosts, and they snarkingly argue about it, so they put it to the test. Miss Ayase heads to the abandoned Nagi hospital in search of aliens. A cult-kun visits a spiritual hotspot in an abandoned tunnel. Miss Ayase believes in spirits because she was taught to by her grandmother and was made to do a ritual whilst walking to school to protect herself. In the tunnel, a cult-kun spots bloody footprints, leading to a yokai. Shocked, he runs away from Turbo Granny. But the thing he doesn't know is that losing a race to Turbo Granny means that he'll be cursed and lose his slong. Worried about a cult-kun, things turn sour for Miss Ayase, as she runs into aliens herself, ripping off her clothes. As the Saponians try to procreate with their psychokinesis, they start to arouse Miss Ayase, as a cult-kun now in cursed form climbs through the phone and begins fighting the Serpos. They too revealed their true form. Being his first friend, a cult-kun wants to protect Miss Ayase, and thinking on her past, when she distanced herself from her grandmother for being a spiritual medium, this opens up her chakra, allowing her to access spiritual psychic powers, and they easily fight off the aliens. Miss Ayase learns to control the curse with her new psychic powers. The only way to lift the curse is to beat Turbo Granny and retrieve his dingaling. When the UFO crashes, they escape, and the chivalrous nerd gives Miss Ayase his clothes. Awkward and stoic in his delivery, it reminds her of Ken Takakura, the famous actor. With feelings starting to develop, she learns that his name is Ken Takakura, but they decide to stick with Okarun, because this is Dandadan. Now morning, they head to Momo's place, removing the warning paper to let Okarun in. They change and get into a fight about being friends, interrupted by a sound. They notice an evil spirit outside, and they forgot to put back up the warning paper. They try to escape out back, but are trapped in the spiritual realm. They come face to face with the Flatwoods monster, and realize that if Momo concentrates on removing the curse in his brain, he can utilize the curse's power. With only enough strength for 2 full charges, they are beaten, smashed into the wall, then use the warning paper to finish off the yokai. All this hard work causes Momo to faint, and the curse takes effect. Though her grandmother, after a long day of people lying to her, gets home to find Turbo Granny and beats her to a pulp. Seiko Ayase has protective charms, and her abilities only work in her spiritual domain. Momo wakes up, frantically assuming that her grandmother had killed Okarun, apologizing about being wrong about spirits. Momo only lives with her grandmother. She reveals that Okarun is in the main shrine. All the thoughts of him race through her head, as Okarun is still alive. The curse only being sealed in the main shrine, exercising the curse is going to take training. Spirits are strongest in their own domain, so they need to lure out Turbo Granny by challenging her to a race. However, she lives there with a giant evil crab. During their training, Turbo Granny reveals that they have to dispel the curse by tomorrow or Okarun will start spreading the curse like a plague. They wear spiritual ceremonial outfits to protect themselves. Taking the train to the tunnel, exploring it once again, they are trapped by Turbo Granny and manage to challenge it to a race. Okarun begins sucking her teats, and Momo manages to crush Turbo Granny's aura. With the faint amount left, they flee the giant crab, using the curse to successfully evade the crab, as they board a moving train and lure it out of the city, where Seiko is waiting for them, also displaying Turbo Granny's sad backstory. She haunted the tunnel to protect young girls who suffered tragic fates. This does mean that they have crab for weeks, and they even try to take a peek at the skin flute. And now that their mission is over, their goodbyes are as awkward as they come, overthinking the possibilities of wanting to hang out again or even being friends tomorrow. At school, they run into the same problem. Momo thinks that she talked too much, and Okarun assumes that Momo doesn't want to be his friend. They spend the entire lunchtime searching for each other. Momo's friends, Miko and Muko, assume that she has a secret boyfriend, and this is reaffirmed when they bump into each other and accidentally kiss. This situation spirals into Momo wanting to fit in and trashing Okarun. Alone again, Okarun bumps into a popular girl, Ira, but once she mocks him for being a creepy perv, Momo enacts revenge. Walking home together, Okarun admits that he is still missing his balls. Knowing that he is still cursed, they beat the spirit out of him, and it climbs into the Maneki Neko doll. Turbo Granny, now with essentially zero power, is waiting for her powers to come back. Threatening to exercise the rest of her, she reveals that when she was killed in the giant crab, she attached to him and took his balls, making them into gold balls. Scattering the golden balls of spiritual energy, humans and or yokais could pick them up. They come up with no luck. At school, their new mascot searches for the balls. After their little stunt, Ira picked up the golden ball and and now starts seeing spirits. She saw Momo's psychic powers and a woman in a red dress, so she lures Momo into an abandoned warehouse and tries to exorcise her. Told about Ira having his ball, they rush over to find that the yokai in the red dress was there first, beckoning for Ira to call her mummy, and the powers come up short, all eaten like day-old popcorn. Turbo Granny outsmarts Acrobatic Silky, freeing all the kids. They manage to tangle up her hair and knock her out. Not having any spiritual power, being eaten causes Ira's aura to fade, and without any aura, she will die. Sympathetic of this issue, Acrobatic Silky agrees to give Ira her aura, even shattering her own jaw to prove this. Saving Ira's life, they delve deep into Acrobatic Silky's life. She once had a daughter of her own. Single mother, she worked tirelessly as a prostitute to provide, giving up her dreams as a dancer, making enough money to purchase a red dress, but not having enough money to pay up. So thugs beat her and kidnapped her daughter as collateral. Beaten and bloody, and with shattered glass in her arms, she fought through the agony and chased down the car, but was too late. And Ira only reignited those memories, her mother being deceased at a young age. This sadness turns to anger, then power. As she begins to fade away, reminded of her life, her blessings, and happiness, Ira thanks her and calls her mummy, promising to never forget her. Invited over for dinner, Ira still thinks that Momo is a monster waiting to take over the world. She shares a moment with Okarun before she leaves, and after trying to kiss him, and Momo walking in at this awkward moment, a yokai attack occurs. Momo deals with a dinosaur shooting laser beams, while Okarun fights with Mr. Manta's shrimp, once again met by the Serpos. They begin removing his clothes to try and steal his banana. They discover that Ira has Acrobatic Silky's powers. The fight prolongs, and when Momo reaches them, they flood the halls with water, and the best way to escape is to take off all their clothes. They come face to face with Nessie, and with the power of teamwork, they become victorious. Now naked on the floor, they celebrate, until the entire school takes notice that they are all naked. Momo's friends assume it to be a love triangle, but given the chance to blame Momo for them being naked, she doesn't, losing her school popularity. They catch Mr. Mantis Shrimp outside, covered in wounds. They bandage him up, and his backstory was that he worked for the Serpos to pay for his son's treatment. Seiko realized that milk will save his son, so they let him abduct a cow, and they place Okarun's nut back. Momo does an impression of Hiroshi Abe, to the tune of Jinjuji, her childhood best friend and first crush. He is staying over now that his family is sick. They were being haunted by a yokai, and because Seiko can only exercise spirits at home, she will be sent to do so. They end up taking in Hana, Taru's love. This love makes Okarun start to question his love for Momo, getting jealous of Joji making Momo laugh. They take the trip to Joji's house to try and exorcise the spirits. When they reach the house, it seems normal, and Momo decides to take a bath in the hot springs. Joji and Okarun occupy themselves with soccer. Then some arguing about who likes Momo more, briefly interrupted by a massive wall they spot. When they break it, it is filled with talismans. In the onsen, Momo is barraged with the Kito family spirits. Her powers fail as they begin to drown her. This is when the series ends. Make sure to subscribe, and if you like the videos I make and want to support the channel, consider joining the memberships, and for more, watch this.